We all know that you are rolling the dice when complimenting women, with the outcome being anywhere between a good reception to a harassment allegation. Women did this to themselves, and now they are whining like babies. Tinder stock is crashing, and they're desperate for more male users to register on the app and use it. Think about that. Yup, COVID was the best time for Tinder, but when things got back to normal, their stocks crashed. Now Tinder is coming out with a select membership for $500. Not that the Chads and the 5% of men need it because they can just get a date anywhere, but for $500, only the top 1% of users will be selected. Tinder will then officially label you as a top 1% person if you have paid that amount. In other words, Tinder has developed an easier way for the top ladies to find sugar daddies and the top men to find sugar mommies. I can feel the playing field leveling out already. One of the biggest problems with some dating apps is that there are no good women there to begin with. The only way to find someone worthwhile is still the old school way, and that is face-to-face contact outdoors. Don't do dates, and don't use social media for human contacts. Those are two major rules you should stick with to make your life as happy as possible. I think the number of male users on Tinder is actually disingenuous. Men make a Tinder, swipe for a few weeks if not days, and then they get discouraged and uninstall the app. Their account still exists for Tinder to pretend its user base is there, but most of those people aren't going to re-download it. That's a fact, and we all know it. The polarity has definitely changed in the past 10-12 years. Having the capability to search, seek, and look for something better in the palm of your hand when you are suddenly not happy has scorched the remnants to building healthy, happy, and strong relationships. I feel bad for these Gen Zs who will never know what it was like to actually communicate without technology interfering. And you know what? Tinder deserves to take losses. They created their own problems in this. They funneled virtually all women into that 5% of men, and the fact is that statistically they have a large split of women who are around the 5s range that would be lucky to find a guy that's a 6 or a 7. By all means, this is an algorithm problem for them in that they've devalued their own product by not allocating men properly to women. No way that 5 woman matches with that 10 guy, and we all know it. That's not even getting into policing the use of filters and crap like that. And if I think about it, being an adult in my early 30s, I would have never thought things would get this bad for men, including for myself. I had just gotten out of high school in my late teens. I imagined manhood as having some fun and fooling around through my 20s through the present, until eventually I would be ready to settle down and start a nuclear family of my own. Unfortunately, because I am not exactly the most confident kind of guy with the ladies, and with the ladies having unrealistic high standards and unrelatable attitudes, I pretty much just stopped trying and have become more focused with my career projects and other independent projects instead. I'm not someone who really cares to be at the top, just a normal, run-of-the-mill everyman who has a job, pays his bills, and earns his keep. And that's good enough for me. However, it will never be enough for most modern-day women, and that sucks. This is absurd. Just imagine paying $500 only to get ignored by the same single moms and other entitled women. There are countless better things where you could spend that money. For anyone considering paying $500 a month for this, remember that the premium membership on Seeking Arrangements is only $100, and it's the same girls you'll see on Tinder, and they always reply. It's the equivalent of paying a cover charge going to a club to meet women, only to be put in the storeroom because you don't meet the requirements of the female patrons. You're then committed to paying the cover charge all month to be put in the storage room, and don't expect a refund. What Tinder needs to do is partner, for lack of a better term, with as many 666 breeders as possible, kind of like streaming platforms do with big influencers. These guys can have free access to all the forever alone career women with unreasonable standards and give them the illusion that quality men exist, but never actually commit to anything too serious. It's a win-win, really. In turn, more women will flock to Tinder, seeing an apparent pool of single men that meet all of the checkboxes, and of course, the simps will follow them. A huge part of why Tinder is crashing also has to do with their swiping style being adopted by every other dating site. The funny thing is that the system worked well for Tinder because it mostly deals with intimacy. So choosing someone based entirely on their looks makes sense to some degree there. Whereas other sites that concentrate more on long-term dating are screwing over non-photogenic guys who have a lot to offer since women are just quick swiping and not reading profiles. A part of me also believes that Tinder is realizing its own data and capitalizing on it somehow, in some way. So if you make amazing money, this is a small investment to them and will make strong feedback to Tinder, weeding out most of the scam artists. If the product doesn't take off, it will be dropped. Simple as that. Online dating is a vicious cycle. Men spam women, so women miss good possible matches, which makes men spam more. It's a crazy cycle. Tinder has been doing this for years, and the worst part is that they never disclose how many times your profile has been shown. You could be shadow banned and your profile hidden from everyone, and still buy subscriptions. Another thing is that they show your profile more often after buying the premium, and show it less the longer you have it. Then they offer you a more expensive premium if you want to get it shown more often. Very predatory towards most men on there. The whole reason dating apps don't work is because they ask for your income, height, and weight. They leave very little room for conversation at that point. It's not hard to talk to women in person because there's more mystery about you and you can play the scene however you need to. Taking a broad approach, online dating apps or search algorithms in general are very powerful tools. Tools of any kind always make the strong people stronger and the weak people weaker. If you're not benefiting from the game, don't play the game. You better take a different strategy, or wait until the algorithms have self-destroyed. I think this is again consistent with the hypothesis of a generational risk aversion trend, and we know what risk they are averting. A risk that destroys men physically, financially, and emotionally. That ends up being a terrible one-sided investment of time and energy that could have been much better spent at the gym, enjoying time with friends or interests, or putting dollars in the bank. Tinder is no different than the real world when it comes to male-female interaction. The problem is, on the app, people always shoot for the top no matter what they look like in the mirror, so they're wasting their time, going after that small percentage of getting someone who's way out of their range and ignoring the ones that are on their level. You can't be 5 or 4 sending messages to a 10 and get mad when she doesn't respond. You know that woman wouldn't respond in real life as well. You played yourself. The reality is that if Tinder wants more engagement, they need a way to filter women and men into groups, so it's not just the top 1% of all men getting all the matches. If over 40% of all users were matching with each other and not just 70% of women matching with the top 10% of men, they might get more engagement. They need to rework the system, but you know they won't. I think women are the real target audience for this feature. This seems like an answer to all the stuff they've been complaining about wanting to find a 66666 man, but they can't. And now Tinder is saying, pay $500 a month and you'll get priority for these men. Professional women making really good money and struggling to find men on their level will definitely eat this up. That's why dating apps in general in this society are doomed to fail. Women aren't going to pay for attention they don't need to pay for. And if 90% of men on the apps aren't getting matches or meetups, then they are going to stop paying. So, who is paying for the apps? In the end, nobody, and that's why they will fail or have to change their business model somehow. I'm not sure what they could do to save it though. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.